Please subscribe my channel. You'd better start pulling your weight around here. That was the first thing my stepdad yelled at me while I lay in a hospital bed, right after emergency surgery. My body was still numb, and my legs could hardly move. I told him I wasn't able to work yet. Doctor's orders, just 2 weeks. Then his hand swung down. Everything spun. The cold floor hit my face. Blood filled my mouth. My hand shook as he growled, "Stop acting like you're fragile." When the police hurried in, everyone looked at him in shock. What they didn't realize was that this wasn't the worst thing he'd ever done. The true betrayal had begun much earlier than that hit. My name is Sophia. I'm in my mid-20s. Before that hospital bed took over my life, I worked in a store during the day and did creative side jobs at night. It wasn't fancy, but it helped pay some bills. More than that, it kept the electricity running in the house my dad had left us. My real dad passed away after a long sickness, the type that slowly empties your bank account, bill by bill, until you're too worn out to fight the costs. After his funeral, the house seemed empty. His jacket still hung by the door. His coffee mug stayed in the sink, untouched. My mom tried to hold it together, but I saw how the stress made her slump a bit more every month. That's when my stepdad, Mark, came into our lives. He arrived polite, helpful, and sure of himself, the kind of guy who offered fixes instead of just kind words. He said he could sort out the bills and handle things so my mom could finally relax. 6 months later, they got married. I remember standing in the living room after the wedding, watching him bring in boxes like he had always been part of the family. At first, everything seemed fine. Then little changes started happening. Bills no longer showed up on the kitchen table. Payments got taken care of. My mom quit looking at the bank statements because she didn't have to anymore. When I asked about it, I was told not to worry. When I kept asking, I was reminded how fortunate we were to have someone stepping up. Mom began feeling tired all the time, then confused. She'd stop in the middle of a sentence, staring at the stove as if she forgot why she turned it on. Mark dismissed it as worry. He gave her vitamins each morning, arranged neatly on the counter, and waited until she took them. I kept working. I paid rent to live in my old bedroom. I told myself this was just growing up, making compromises for family. Then my appendix burst. The pain hit suddenly and hard, doubling me over on the bathroom floor. Surgery came next. When I woke up, my body felt put back together wrong. The doctor said I needed rest. 2 weeks. No heavy lifting, no job. That's what I explained to Mark from my hospital bed. I stayed calm. I didn't argue. I just said I couldn't work yet. He stared at me like I'd offended him. I didn't realize it then, but that was when things changed for good. That's when I stopped being family to him and turned into a burden. And once I was a burden, he dropped the act. The hospital room was too bright that early morning. White walls, white sheets, a constant beep that made time drag. I stared at the ceiling tiles, counting tiny cracks to ignore the ache in my side with every breath. That's when he came in. No hello, no. How are you? Just the door clicking shut and his image in the metal cabinet mirror. His jaw was clenched, shoulders stiff, like he'd already made up his mind he was right. He started complaining about money right away, bills piling up, things falling behind, how I had to contribute. I kept my voice even and repeated what the doctor said. No work for 2 weeks, maybe sooner if I healed fast. He gave a short laugh that stung. Then he said those words that still echo when it's quiet. You'd better start pulling your weight around here. I blinked, sure I'd heard wrong. I was attached to machines. My forehead dripped slowly. I hadn't even tried standing yet. I said it again, softer. I really couldn't move much. His expression turned icy, not exploding, but calculated, like a switch flipped. He leaned in, whispered I was faking it, being overly dramatic, acting helpless. Then his hand struck my face. It happened fast. One moment I was propped on the pillow. The next I slid off the bed, tangled in blankets hitting the floor. The fall stole my breath. Cold tiles pressed my cheek. I tasted blood from my split lip. My hands trembled as I tried to sit up, not from terror, but pure surprise. He loomed over me and snapped, "Stop acting like you're fragile." That's when chaos erupted, running feet, raised voices, calls for security, nurses bursting in with wide eyes and quick hands to help me. One knelt beside me, voice tense with fury she tried to hide, telling me to stay still. Then police showed up. They saw me on the floor, blood on my gown, the tipped for a pole. Everything shifted. Mark started talking quickly, making excuses, flashing that fake smile he used when cornered. I lay there, gazing at the bright lights, and felt something inside me toughen up. That hit wasn't just rage, it was a warning. For the first time, I saw clearly who he really was. I left the hospital a day late, not from my wound reopening, but because staff moved carefully around me, like I might break. A nurse quietly slipped a card into my discharge papers while Mark argued about parking at the desk. She just looked at me and nodded slightly. I didn't check it until home that night. The house felt strange when we returned, quieter, tighter. Mom hovered, hands half reaching then pulling back. She misplaced her glasses, forgot the day, apologized for every little thing. The sounds, the lights, even her presence. He pretended nothing happened. He made dinner, cracked jokes, told a story about bad traffic, and chuckled at it. When Mom paused too long answering, he spoke for her. When she flinched, he gave her those vitamins again, lined up like always. Pain medicine softened the days but sharpened my notice of things. Patterns, schedules, how Mom's confusion worsened after some meals, how documents I'd seen disappeared when I mentioned them, payments I remembered making that were gone. The nurse's card had a website link. I waited until late, everyone asleep, and read with aching eyes. Financial abuse, medical control, keeping someone isolated. It matched our life too well, like a checklist made for us. A few days on, our neighbor brought soup. In the kitchen, she saw Mom shuffle by, leaned close, and murmured something felt off. Her daughter in healthcare had spotted the pill bottles, doses, Mom's changes. That night, I picked the cheap lock on his private room. Inside, neat folders labeled insurance, benefits. I skimmed one page, then more. Policies in Mom's name, large amounts, dates matching her worsening health perfectly. My hands shook, but my thoughts cleared. This wasn't random, it was deliberate. I replaced everything exactly. Went to bed, stared at the ceiling till dawn. Fear weighed on me, but below it, determination. I quit challenging him, quit questioning, let him believe I was defeated. While he eased up, thinking he'd succeeded, I quietly planned to stop him. Once you spot the pattern, you can't ignore it. I reviewed events in my mind like replaying footage. Mom's rough day's timing, her shakier hands after breakfast more than dinner, how he watched her swallow those vitamins like it was crucial. I shifted from seeing it as my daily life to treating it like evidence. Distance brought sharpness. First, I stopped reacting. Didn't push back when he interrupted Mom. Didn't react to his snaps. I nodded, stayed silent, moved carefully like still recovering. He approved of that me, mistook quiet for giving in. Secretly, I linked clues. Late nights, I looked up old records, past addresses. Soon found one woman, then more, different places, same story. Quick romance, join money, sudden sickness, messy end. I messaged one carefully, no blame, just a query. Reply came fast, you too. That confirmed I wasn't crazy. We chatted long. She invited me to a private group, women who'd experienced versions of my situation. They shared plainly. Facts, timelines, papers, similarities that chilled me. One handled legal work. Another saved everything, transactions, messages. They didn't direct me, just showed I wasn't alone. Next help came nearby. The neighbor's daughter visited, pretending to check on Mom. She watched Mark blend a smoothie, add powder from a plain jar. Alone later, she said she couldn't confirm without tests, but the mix, quantities, signs worried her. It fits a lot, she whispered. That was plenty. I began recording talks, routines, how he made food, insisted on finances. I avoided his stuff after that. No need. He grew sloppy, sure of himself. He talked freely on calls, thinking unheard. Then he pushed further. Came home with a folder, grinning like victorious. Said it was routine papers. Lawyer suggested since Mom seemed mixed up lately. Power of attorney, temporary, just precaution. Mom's hand trembled reaching for the pen. I felt anger rise but stayed calm. Asked gently, shouldn't we get advice for something big like this? To do it properly. He paused briefly, then agreed, next week. That week mattered most. The group women explained key details, what proved important, what broke rules. I consulted experts discreetly, honestly, no drama, just facts and proof. They paid attention. The plan formed quickly. He said he'd be out late for his bowling group, never skipped. Left cheerful, teasing, already planning on money not yet his. Kissed Mom's forehead goodbye. I watched him leave, feeling only resolve. Half an hour later, doorbell. Again, house filled with calm professionals, badges, soft guidance putting a coat on Mom. Medical staff asking questions, she answered clearly now. Boxes for files. Equipment taken. All proper, no yelling, no mess. Meanwhile, elsewhere, someone approached him. I learned later. His initial laugh, excuses, fading assurance as reality hit. Silence when handcuffed. His bowling friends stepping away, questioning if they knew him. Back home it ended. He saw Mom safe on the couch, blanket wrapped, speaking sharply. Months since I'd heard that. Saw people removing his office boxes. Saw me by the door, steady, unafraid. He looked diminished. Tried talking, explaining, bargaining. Claimed misunderstanding. Said he helped. Families keep things private. I stayed even. Truth doesn't hide. As they took him, he glanced back, almost desperate. The man who'd shouted at me hospitalized couldn't say anything meaningful. Aftermath sped up. Tests proved suspicions. Money checks revealed more than I knew. Others shared similar tales, piling evidence undeniable. His control attempts crumbled under proof. Mom stayed for monitoring. Days in, her thoughts cleared. Face brightened. She wept realizing the truth, wept more knowing it stopped. House changed without him. Not louder or emptier, just freer. Neighbors visited. Old friends called. Strangers thanked me. Their courage grew from mine. He vanished into the justice system meant for such people. One quiet evening in the living room, amid evidence boxes and Mom's even breathing nearby, I felt safe again, not from his absence, but knowing my strength. Mom's improvement wasn't instant, but clear. Away from him, confusion lifted fast. She slept fully, completed thoughts, stopped constant sorries, sounding more like her old self. Experts described it gently. Drug effects, lasting impact, how dominance erodes without visible scars. Mom listened intently, held my hand like when I was small. That touch felt like reclaiming her. Our home again. Windows open, items stayed put. Bills visible on table, open, clear. Overwhelming, but real. Legal steps advanced steadily. Evidence spoke loudest. More voices joined, pain shared easing mine. Justice came solid, not flashy. I returned to work gradually. New schedule, new focus. Began helping others, learning signs we overlooked, not from bravery, but knowing silence's weight. One night, Mom hung a new hallway picture, just us two. No past shadows. For years first, tomorrow felt peacefully quiet. I share this because family hurt doesn't always start obvious. Sometimes it seems like aid. Sometimes control dressed as care. And sometimes one clear moment shifts all. If this rings true for you, know you're not alone. It's never too late to set boundaries. If you've protected yourself or a loved one from those nearest, share below and subscribe for more stories.